He's been killed by dental floss. Okay, guys, we're here now right outside of Gurnee, Illinois. And we're here at Realm of Terror Haunted House, which actually is a part of a bigger family fun center called Christoph Entertainment. They've got mini golf, bowling, arcades. They got all kinds of stuff going on here. And they also have a haunted house. And they have go-karts you can see over there. And we're gonna go and talk to them because we're gonna be making a sweep through Chicago and seeing a bunch of haunted houses up here. And we're gonna see what we can learn. And right there you see a facade right in front of a go-kart track. And a really cool looking hearse, I have to say, with a mini golf. And so we're gonna walk in, we're gonna talk to the owners, find out what all is going on with these guys. And there's a really cool mini golf over there. And look at that, the big old castle. And inside they have bowling, they have arcades. So they've got a whole bunch of stuff going on, not just a haunted house. So this is the first video that we've ever featured where we did something that was more than a haunted house, meaning, you know, a scream park obviously is more than a haunted house, but I'm talking about like where they've got bowling, other forms of entertainment. And let's see if we can go find these guys. Oh, there we go. Hey, Steve.
How's it going?
Hey, so we want to like learn all about your place here.
I want to learn all about my place. Well,
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily my place. It's my family's place.
Yep.
So my family's owned this since 1974. My dad, Tom, and Jim just celebrated 50 years with this place. I've been doing the haunted house here for the entire run of it for the last 22 years. So this will be our 22nd season doing the haunted house here. So. And if you aren't aware, I'm Steve from Realm of Terror.
Well, hello, Steve.
Yeah, hi.
Hey,
and you are?
Larry.
Larry. Nice to meet you, Larry. I've never,
how's it going?
never met you before. This is the first time we're ever meeting face to face.
And just so we're aware, okay, he hates my shirt.
I don't hate you. He said he was going to give me that shirt. So mark my words. If I'm not wearing his shirt by the end of this video, Larry's a liar.
And once again,
He's lied straight to your face. I love that shirt.
Every video that I make, people get to hear my phone go off. They get to hear the Halloween theme song.
You don't know how to turn it on vibrate?
No, I just don't think about it. It's in my pocket and don't think about it. So Steve, I got a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Let's walk around and talk and like show like you got bowling and everything.
Yeah, so my family's owned the place since 1974. We've got bowling, go-karts. We used to have batting cages. We just added a second miniature golf course, so 36 holes of miniature golf. Pinball room in here, big arcade down that way.
Lots of pinball.
Bar, food, a little bit of everything.
And they got a nice sign that says play pinball. Oh, and you have the leaderboard. Yes. How important do you think that is to having
It's important to the people that, here, I'll turn the pinball room on for you. But it's important to the people that care about pinball. For the casual players, I don't think they specifically care about it, but our like pinball regulars, I think it's pretty important for them. It's nice to get your name up on the leaderboard. It's fun.
How often do you change out the games?
It really depends. You know, it depends on if there's a title that we think fits our mix. You know, so we haven't put anything new in since Venom, but we get a lot of kids in here, so a lot of the comic book themes, things like that, really resonate pretty well.
So I have a question for you. As I was walking up, I was mentioning of all the haunted houses that, you know, we've done videos on and toured.
Sure.
None of them have been like part of like a family fun center.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first one.
Okay.
So how does that dynamic work?
It's an interesting mix, you know. So for us, for years, we've kind of separated ourselves in all of our marketing from the fun center. A big reason for that is we've always tried to be like a scary haunted house, and anytime it was marketed alongside the family fun center, people assumed it would be less scary or for kids. So we've always had to kind of separate that marketing out. The people that come here obviously know that it's here, and then people that are coming to the haunted house, when they get here, it's actually really great because you can go through the haunted house, then afterwards you can get some really good food, get some pizza, get a drink at the bar, play some bowling. You can really make a whole night of the entire experience. You know, we do plenty of things out at the haunted house. We've got carnival games and escape rooms that we set up and things like that. But then once you're kind of done with all the scary stuff, your night doesn't necessarily have to end at the haunted house or even go to a second location. You're able to come inside.
But how does the haunted house affect the family fun center when you have normal customers coming all the time, right? And then all of a sudden there's a bunch of people, the parking lot's full. Does it help, or does it hurt the regular business?
I think it plays into both ends. For us, the fall typically for family fun centers is pretty light. School's back in session, it's before the holidays, it's usually it's where we usually see a downturn, and it helps us keep that line kind of stable coming out of the summer and then going through the fall. We'll usually see a dip coming out of August into September, and then that kind of starts to rise back up, coast through October, and then you get into Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that, where kids are out of school again, and that's always really good.
And the haunt's gone.
The haunt's gone. Haunt's long gone.
You do now your haunt, does it stay up year round? Because I noticed it's in a building.
Yeah, parts of it do. So about 50% of our show is set up every year and temporary. The other 50% kind of stays up. So I'll be able to show you that. Everything that is temporary has to go up after Labor Day because of the fun center, because it gets built in the same space as our miniature golf and our go-karts and things like that. So that all shuts down.
Do you open for Krampus, Valentine's, and that kind of stuff?
Our building, we've been doing it out there for 22 years, and when we first built it, I don't think we ever thought we'd get as big as we've gotten, but the building's not insulated, heated, or cooled. So
let me ask you this question. Your family fun center, the marketing part of it, versus the haunted house part. Do you find like you're marketing in different directions?
Yes and no. I mean, for the fun center here, because we kind of touch on all ages. I mean, we have a bar, we have pool tables and slot machines and things like that over in the bar area. A lot of that ends up being some of the same customers as the haunted house, whereas the families aren't necessarily our direct customers. We are adding things actually this year to start doing like more family-friendly type events. We're going to do a no-actor night. We're doing a couple like family-friendly walkthroughs during the day towards the end of the month to test the waters on being able to capture some of those people as well.
Let me ask you this question. Your haunted house, how far exactly are you from downtown Chicago?
We are exactly probably 57 minutes. We're pretty far from downtown.
So is your market Chicago or just local?
We're local. So a big part of our market is all super local, especially because of where we're located. We're right up kind of against Lake Michigan. There's not much population out to the west, and there's certainly no population to the east because you just fall into the lake. So we're all north, all south. If you go up north, there's a lot of really great haunts heading towards Milwaukee. There's Abandoned along 94. Those guys are great. You head south from here, and there's a million haunted houses all around the Chicago area, and some really great ones as well. But it keeps us pretty hyper local to this area.
But like back before all the digital marketing stuff, and you had to buy radio and stuff like that.
Back then we used to pull a lot more from Chicago and Milwaukee, but once digital marketing kind of took the foothold, probably, what would you say? That was probably around 2010, 2011, where a lot of that really started to pick up. It really changed the way we had to market, and we had to really focus locally to get our immediate neighboring towns here, because any ads that happened, outside of that radius really were just helping feed the other haunts.
Now you're been in this long enough to remember Rosemont being the haunted house show, and
I'm gonna lean on a pinball machine. I'm gonna make you keep spinning. I'm just gonna keep changing directions.
There we go. But you've been around long enough to remember the Transworld show being in Chicago, and I remember like there never being any haunts to tour except for Dream Reapers.
Yeah.
And I remember like there just not being very many haunts in Chicago, period. And now there's a ton.
Yeah, back in the day, I mean, we had Dream Reapers, Jim Upchurch's 11th Hour.
Which became
13th
floor.
Yeah.
But there wasn't very much stuff going on here. Like what changed in Chicago to go from like almost none to a ton?
I think a lot of it just came with the natural growth of the industry. Chicago was kind of largely underserved. You had Statesville, which is run by the guys who run Hell's Gate, the Zombie Army guys, and they've really carved out a great niche for themselves. When 13th Floor came into town, they bought up a couple shows and have really expanded those shows into some big, pretty beautiful shows. And then along with the prison opening, they did the prison in Joliet. I don't know if you've been there, but
No, but I toured the real prison.
Sure. Yeah.
Where they filmed Blues Brothers.
Yeah. I mean, well, they're in one of the prison buildings. Which
Yeah,
is,
not the cool one though.
Sure, but I think it's pretty cool. It's a really cool, unique experience to be able to go through that. And along the way, there's been just a lot of different haunted houses that have opened up near a lot of those population centers. And it's not that I don't think they weren't there before. I think, a lot of them, at least their origins, started, coming up on 15 years ago now. And it's just they've been allowed to grow and flourish and find permanent buildings and really find their footholds in their individual areas. And it's turned the Chicago area into really a place to visit if you're looking to see some really, really great haunted houses. There's a ton.
Well, you have a lot of aggressive, haunts. You meaning like they're all trying to be big. How do you compete in that environment? It's just because you focus mostly local?
Yeah, I mean, for us, our market's our market. We're kind of capped on attendance where we're at, but the people that do come out, always say it's a really cool, unique show, and I think a lot of that's because we've been in this building for so long. We've outgrown it how many times, and the building doesn't get any bigger, so the haunt just keeps compressing in on itself, and you've got a lot of like really narrow claustrophobic areas, and we're kind of like old school, so to speak, in that way. But as haunts have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and rooms have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and animatronics have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, for us, in a lot of ways, it helps set our show apart because everything is tight. It's really, narrow, and everything's kind of right on top of you, which 15 years ago, everybody was that way. And we've just continued to expand on and build that way.
A big change in the haunted house industry, and I've mentioned this before, when the escape room industry first came to Transworld, and actually now it's not that big at Transworld, but for a while it was like huge.
Sure.
And then they even did their own escape room show and all that. I said in a seminar that haunts would take over the escape room industry,
Sure.
and the people who were in the business got upset that I said that. But I knew it was going to go in the direction of more interaction, more detail, more theming, more storyline than just a room with boxes and locks.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you've really embraced the escape room industry. So how long have you been doing that, and how's that changed your business, meaning you've got a haunt and you got escape rooms?
Yeah, so our escape rooms are completely separate from the haunted house. We do like a 5-minute escape room in the queue line for the haunt, things like that. But all of our escape room venues are separate from the haunt. We market that completely separately on purpose. We built that as its own brand, and we're really proud of what we've built out there. And we put, in the same way that you guys do with yours in St. Louis, a lot of attention into detail and a lot of attention into building the environment for the guests. And then on top of it, creating some really fun gameplay along the way.
But which one does better, the haunts or the escapes?
I mean, are we talking
revenue
per
1
month window? Because
no, like haunt for
Sure.
it doesn't matter if you're open one day or all year.
Yeah.
Haunts or escape rooms, which ones does better financially for you?
For us, I mean, the escape rooms are my primary at this point. The haunted house does well for the month that it's open, but the escape rooms are a full-time business. They're open 365 days a year, 12 months out of the year. It's just
Having super successful escape room facilities, has that ever made you think, I don't want to do the haunt anymore?
For me personally, no. But I may be unique in that way, in that the haunted house for me, and I think for a lot of people, is a labor of love. It's a place where you can kind of create freely and do new, interesting things without necessarily having to worry about how it's going to make somebody feel or whatever. A lot of it's, you have to create fear, but you get to create these really cool, immersive environments. And for me, a lot of the best relationships I have, I met my wife through the haunted house. I've met all of my best friends through it. And for me, that community and a lot of the people in the industry are people that I value a lot. And I would fear that if I left the industry, I might lose some of that. So for me, it's very much a labor of love thing.
I would agree, because when you think about the escape room industry, it really doesn't have it's not really an industry. The only connection they have to each other is through Facebook groups or maybe going to Transworld.
I've met a lot of really great escape room owners and have become very close with a lot of them. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's the same as, with my haunted house people. We're on the phone all the time. We go out and grab dinner, and that's something I really value a lot. And like I said, pretty much all of my closest friends in life come from the haunted house world, and I can't put a price on that necessarily.
Now, I was telling somebody the other day, the big change for escape rooms having a successful facility is that they actually help fund your haunted house, because I was explaining, like, on a haunted house, tell me if you would agree, it's like a tornado. Before escape rooms, it was like a tornado. You made enough money to, like, catch around all the way back around and spend the money to do it again.
Sure.
And the haunted houses are helping you, or the escape rooms are helping you, like, not be literally broke when you open.
Yeah.
Has that been, have you used escape room money to help your haunt?
Necessarily, we keep them as completely separate businesses. Like I said, our escape rooms are a full-time business that is completely separate from the haunted house. So while those are very successful, we don't necessarily rob Peter to pay Paul kind of thing. We try and make sure that each pillar of all of our businesses is able to sustain itself. And sometimes that comes at the expense of an individual pillar, like, the haunted house only makes so much money. But if I look at how much money the haunted house makes, I'm able to focus on just that and know, okay, I can only spend this much to make sure that it's still worth it and we're able to keep doing it, and I'm able to hold on to the thing I love, while the escape rooms are able to, pay for their staff, pay for the rent, pay for wherever we're at, over on their own pillars, in the same way that none of them dictate, like, what my family does here. The Fun Center doesn't specifically rely on the haunted house to exist, in the same way that, we try and keep each thing separate.
How much do you annually change or spend on your haunted house each year?
It varies. Some years are better than others. It just really depends on that pillar. We don't have a fixed number that we spend. We've had years where we've spent as much as, $150,000, $200,000 on the haunted house, and other years where we spent nothing or 10 or whatever. Coming out of COVID, things were tight and we didn't spend anything for a little while there.
Did you see anything at Transworld that you liked?
This year?
Yeah.
We bought a couple things. We bought some really great stuff from Beastcraft that's still sitting wrapped up in storage. I actually bought some really cool stuff at HauntCon, of all places. I was there showing a movie, and met the people from Dynamic Designs. If you've ever met, like, Darren Perks, they do a bunch of really cool fiberglass work, and because we have everything that happens outside, they've got some really incredible stuff, so I was really excited to be able to pick some things up from them.
Your haunt, how many animations versus how many actors do you have?
So we've always been really actor focused. Because of our size, we operate on a staff of around 50 actors a night. We don't have that many animatronics throughout the show, mostly because of space. If I put a big thrashing animatronic, it's going to be smacking people in the face just because of how close everything is.
Are you mask or makeup?
Probably 70% makeup, 30% mask.
How many makeup artists do you have?
4.
So
we operate with a staff of 4 makeup artists. My lead makeup artist, also my wife, Stevie, she's incredible. She leads up all the makeup, so I don't have to touch it.
How many?
We've got a couple of people that have been with us forever that are just really incredible artists that do incredible work, and then a handful of people that we rotate through every year.
How many nights are you open? Do you find that you're open less now than you used to be, like 10 years ago?
Oh, for sure.
And why?
So there's a couple, over 22 years, you do a lot of A/B testing, right? we're pretty much only open, you know, Friday to Sunday. We don't do really any Thursdays or anything like that. We don't even usually open on Halloween if it doesn't fall Thursday to Sunday, because it's where we're at. It hasn't been worth it for us. We found that being open less days, often the attendance that we would have had just shifts to the days that we are open. Opening those additional days really just added expenses for us without adding any attendance. So we were spending more to make the same, or you know, you were spending 30% more to only make, you know, we were losing 15% because, you know, you would be open, but you still have those same people those other days or whatever. So for us, it's always been a lot less. We did one year where we opened really late in the year. It was, God, this is 15 years ago, but we opened like 3 weeks later than every other haunted house in the market. And when we did that, all that happened was all the people that normally would have existed in those first 3 weeks just came that when we opened, which was difficult because all those people shifted right on our opening weekend. It was very hard to manage. So we learned we needed to be open those earlier days, but not the weekdays and things like that. Plus it helps with actor turnover, staffing, making sure that people are able to stay and be fresh and be on top of it and not burning them out with those. I mean, you remember back, every haunted house was open. Everybody had a hell week, you know, we were all open
every night,
15 night runs. And
well, we still open every night last week.
Look at me, I'm Larry.
No,
I'm still open all week.
No. We're not open anywhere near what we used to be open. But when we get to the last week, if you look at the schedule, you'll see that we're open one Monday, one Tuesday, one Wednesday, and then 3 Thursdays.
Yeah.
So the last week, we're giving everybody an opportunity. If you could only come on Monday, if you only come on Tuesday, but only one.
Yeah.
And so in the past, we'd be open every day. You know, we would open in the beginning of September, and it's just like, you know, it's like a blitzkrieg, you know.
Yeah, I hear that.
But no, we don't open that many days anymore.
Sure.
And Lemp is only open 11. Mm-hmm. How many days are you going to be open this year?
I think we've got 15 nights on the calendar this year, but a handful of them are like modified shows or like no actor nights, things like that, to appeal to different audiences.
Let me ask you this question. What is one thing that you do different today that if you could go back 5 years ago and tell yourself, hey, you should have done this sooner, what would it be?
It would be to focus on the community. Focus for us specifically. Few years back, we were really trying to, you know, reach further into our market, and we just weren't getting the return back. For us, condensing our marketing and really bringing that in made a huge difference for us as far as who we were reaching, who we were getting, and really honing in, you know, who we're actually capturing and bringing to our event.
What's one thing that you do differently at your haunted house that you wish you would have started 5 years ago?
I mean, I'll even go further back than that. We still are and try to be a very scary haunted house, but if it were a business decision, I wish 20 years ago we never pushed being the scariest, you know, bloodiest, goriest, most in-your-face haunted house. I wish we would have really focused on the families. By pushing the intensity, you push away so many people that could come and enjoy what you've created or come and, you know, bring their whole family. And by going with the more intense route, which we do very well, it has put that cap on our attendance.
What are some of the things that you do now for, you know, like ancillary attractions or revenue sources that you didn't do in the past?
Yeah, I mean, we've added a lot of games. We've done a lot to create, you know, the environment outside. You know, before we used to just rely on the fun center to be the ancillary attractions. Now we've brought a lot of that out into the queue line, whether it's adding games, adding the 5-minute escape rooms, doing an actual like retail environment for our gift shop, anything that helps create, you know, the full environment of going to an event. Like if you went to Six Flags or Disney, you know, the food, the shopping, all of that is just as important, if not more important, than the rides and attractions themselves. It's all about creating an environment for your guests, and that's what we've really tried to continue to push and continue to build on year after year.
With you offering less days, do you try to go to other haunts on the days you're not open?
I mean, we still love going to haunted houses, and we're really fortunate that in the Chicago market, we've got a lot of really great haunted houses, and like I said, a lot of really great friends in our market. There's people that I'm excited to be able to go out and see their show and support what they do, because they're just as much the reason that I love what I do, is being able to actually.
You ever go to any other cities?
Yeah, we usually, we take a trip to Orlando every year and we go check out Horror Nights, just because we like the parks. And then beyond that, like we've come and seen your shows before. We've gone, we'll drive out to Michigan and see Erebus. We've driven, out to Pennsylvania, and they've got a really great, concentration of haunts between Pennsylvania and New York there on the East Coast. That there's a lot of really cool, haunts between Headless Horseman and Pennhurst and all of those out that way. A lot of really cool stuff, and it's always interesting to see how regions change and how things pick up and how different areas focus on different stuff, throughout the industry. We haven't made it out west too often though, so.
How are you finding it a little harder to get actors these days, or do you have the same ones coming back year over year?
We've got a pretty strong core that comes back every year, but we've been really fortunate to be able to get a lot of really great people and a lot of really great actors, and we've cultivated a lot of really good relationships with all of these people, that even if they don't come back to the haunted house, like we're still friends, we still see them around.
Did you do anything outside of the core group to recruit actors?
For us, it's a lot of grassroots stuff. We go to the county fairs. We support pride events in the area. We there's in our area, like we have a really.
There it goes.
Oh, there it goes. So.
Hey, but it's a tradition at this point.
But
I can't stop doing it.
Yeah, we've got a really great community in the area that's always supported us, and we always reach out into that community.
Yeah, we
to bring those people in.
We did really good at Pride events. We didn't go to anything this year, but we've done really good at county fairs and so on and so forth.
Sure.
It's been fantastic. But let's go see your haunt. You want to go see your haunt?
Out there. At least what's standing.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Sure. Of all the Family Fun Center attractions you have, and you have many of them, you have a lot of the traditional ones. Which one is the best?
Bowling's always the staple. It always has been. The building was a bowling alley before my family ever even took it over.
You ever go to the Bowl Expo?
Yeah.
I went to the one this year.
How'd you like Bowl Expo?
The show's really slow. It's not super, there's not like, the emphasis of the show is not the show.
Sure.
It's like more networking.
Yeah, with a lot of those shows, I found that a big thing is looking at what's changing within the companies themselves that are already your suppliers. In a lot of cases, like here, we're an AMF bowling house, or Cubica. And going to the shows is always a really good way for us to, build those relationships, see what AMF is offering that's new or changing, and be able to plan, into the future for the shows. So
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a lot of questions.
Yeah, you've had a lot of questions.
But I always talk about, I'm probably the only one that does it, but I go to all these trade shows because, we build blacklight mini golf.
Sure.
And by the way, just so everybody knows, I asked him if he could build a building here so I could build him a mini golf.
I told him he could buy the whole place, so.
Here, let's walk over and see your facade. Yeah, I am. Yeah. But of all the shows.
He's gonna buy the place and give me a shirt.
I'm going to give you a shirt, you're damn right. Of all the shows, IAPA, Bowl Expo, Amusement Expo, all those shows, which ones do you think are the best for if you were going to decide to open a Family Fun Center?
If you're going to decide to open a Family Fun Center, IAPA is the easy choice, because it touches all of the bases. There's plenty at IAPA that isn't going to be for you if you're going to open a fun center. You're not building a roller coaster. You might build a small flat ride roller coaster or something like that, but there's so many things there between food options, arcade options. You have the full scope of operations at IAPA IAPA. And then a lot of the other shows, Amusement Expo, Bowl Expo, any of those tend to hyper-focus on individual areas of the business, and those, in my opinion, are better for building those relationships.
And they have more
spending time
seminars
with
for
things,
those, yeah.
Whereas IAPA is broader as the amusement industry as a whole, but there is more there. I would start there and then hone in on your attractions with individual shows.
Did you purposely put this in here because it was temporary?
Yeah, so this was where batting cages were originally at, and we would utilize that space under the batting cage structure as part of the haunted house, and we did that for many, many years, and we recently took those down. When we took them down, we re-poured the concrete, added these lights so they'll have some additional uses during the haunted house.
So this is now queue line.
This is queue line, gift shop area, things like that. That all starts getting set up after Labor Day for us. And this entire miniature golf course is entirely modular, so it comes apart into wedges. And we're able to pack it all up, move it off of this area, and put it back together.
Is your gift store and stuff in trailers that are out there?
The gift store gets put up in tents.
Okay.
So we have tents that come out here that we set up for like our games, our gift shop, things like that. And then out onto the go-kart track, more tents where we do, the rest of the haunted house.
So what do you do on the go-kart track? Do you do like a walking?
Yeah, it's all mazes out there. So
How long does it take to set up?
We don't have a big window, we've only got after Labor Day until we have to get inspected for the season, so usually like a 3-week window. So a lot of that work happens, throughout the spring and summer here, where we're building things that end up getting installed out.
And I'm guessing it's all in those trailers?
Those and a couple that get driven in. Those are what we're allowed to keep on the property.
So your haunted house is this building, and then you set up an outdoor section on the go-kart track.
Go-kart track, and then through this awning here.
And then this is a queue line
and queueway.
with a tent.
Yep.
Okay, all right, I'm getting the picture.
Yeah. So, like I said, the haunted house isn't all set up, and there's crap everywhere, and it probably looks terrible. But we're gonna take kind of a weird path here. The weird thing about our haunted house, we've been here for 22 years. We're built to the walls. There's not much space for anything here. We barely have a workshop, so we'll end up seeing that like part of the haunted house is like our go-kart shop, but then that all gets reconfigured for the haunted house after Labor Day, and then
I noticed you have some access corridors.
Yeah, access corridor that runs along the perimeter here, and then exterior of the building on the other side.
When you designed it, did the fire department want you to do that, or is it just something you did on your own?
That's something we did on our own. We've always kind of had the access corridor, but it's important to be able to egress people as quickly as possible if you needed to. One of the big things that we're focusing on this year is creating actor box modules so that our actors are able to push a button on the wall, kind of like a panic button, but there'll be like 2 buttons on it that allow them to like call and say like, hey, I need water, hey, I need to go to the bathroom, stuff like that, or like, hey, somebody's going through the haunted house punching people, we need someone over here right away.
Did you watch the video I did on Niles' haunted house?
I'm not sure I did.
On the Hauntworld channel.
I love the Niles guys though.
Well, you got to watch that video because they have phones in every single area where the actors are, so they can pick up the phone and talk to somebody.
Sure.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And they're like phones from the 1980s.
Hey,
it's pretty wild.
Works, yeah.
It works. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty clever.
Yeah, that is smart.
All right, so where do we go?
We'll take a tour through here. We're going to go this way.
Yeah, the one thing I could say right off the bat is it's very claustrophobic.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. That's an actor area.
Actor area back in there, a little drop window section. Actor spot over here.
Did you make this yourself?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a fun little prop. So this is the carving room. So the idea through this section, if you didn't see the demon in the beginning, there's a big demon, like a trick-or-treat demon that's like capturing kids and stealing them, and then the monsters come out and they're killing people and then carving them into pumpkins as they come through here. So
I think maybe some of the vendors, when they see this video, they might make one of these.
We'll see.
Like it's like you carved a pumpkin in like a really fat person's stomach. Wow, this is really tight.
Yeah. Always has been. That's kind of our thing.
That slows them down too.
Yeah, that's an animatronic. The guy like smashes his face into the pumpkin. You know. Pumpkin.
What is this? Is this an actor?
It's just a little reach-through actor spot there, just to get a little scare through there. The actor that's in this area is able to dual purpose a number of scares. And then we just put these up, but we're carving the faces out. We've got lights installed.
Oh yeah, to add lights.
Yeah, so lights behind the vacuum forms.
Are these from?
Nethercraft?
Yeah, Nethercraft.
Yeah.
They changed their name, but I can't remember.
Like I said, a lot of our haunted house is all really tight. So to create like cool actor spots, we build areas. Like I said, those just got put up, so we haven't rounded anything off. But yeah, just be careful. But we build areas that are up high, so the actors are all able to kind of come out up high and be up over people, but still out of the path.
Yeah, do it again. Like that was really cool. Let's see that again. Yeah, so they come by. And they're literally past you by the time you jump out at them.
Yeah, exactly. So you're able to have the whole group here, get in the middle, you know, build platforms for the actors to be up on, you know, things from the lunge out and be up out of the way, but still in the middle of the scene kind of thing.
Yeah, and this is, you gotta make them duck. Lightning. Oh, the floor is vibrating. Holy cow, that massaged my feet. It really did. My feet are a little sore. So you got an actor jumps through a suitcase here. Yeah, I could see where people would find this haunted house really scary.
Yeah.
Because you don't feel comfortable in it.
Yeah, that's our whole thing is always, you know, making you duck, dip, dive, wherever. Our actor area is actually back through here. So our part of our wardrobe department's here. It's still all packed up for the season. So,
yeah, it's all ready to go. Where do they put on their makeup?
So that's all back in here. Again, like I said, it's a mess. So.
Yeah, everybody
These
gets
are some of those
it.
props from Dynamic Designs. So they're out of Orlando. And this is all fiberglass. So this is all, you know, good to be outside.
So it's never gonna break.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Seems like it's air conditioned in here.
This room, this is the only spot. Otherwise, no air conditioning. Another big Dynamic Designs guy.
And then you've got your cast photos, and it looks like you have all your actors sign it.
Yeah, at our cast party at the end of the year, everybody signs it.
And you have earplugs. Oh my! I've never seen anything like this.
No?
You have a machine for earplugs.
Yeah, a nice little vendor there. You know, it's important to protect yourself, and people are in a loud environment all night. We found that having that as an option for actors, it helps with retention. You know, allowing them to.
Wow.
You know, people get headaches less, things like that. You know, they're cheap. It's one of those little things that is a quality of life thing, but makes a big difference.
Well, you know, I'll tell you something. Like Steve, like just stopping here for a second. You know, it's like I've told people like since I've been like going around and looking at haunts. You know, they're all so different. And then, you know, people always say, well, which ones are the best? Oh, Haunted Overload or whatever, right? Like 13th Gate. I mean, we can name a whole bunch. And we focus on that. And then I went to a haunt, and I tell people this all the time. Maybe I should put a link to it. But I went to this haunt in Arkansas just on a whim because I was picking up a truck. Yeah. And, you know, it's in the middle of nowhere, and they've got like all these unique things that I've never seen in a haunted house. It's like every haunted house I go to, I'm like learning something that I didn't think of before. And then right away, earplugs.
Yeah,
that's never dawned on me.
Sure. Yeah, for us, it's always. I mean, again, some of it just goes back to, you know, cultivating the relationships with the actors and actually listening to them. You know, when you have an actor that's screaming their head off or standing under a speaker all night and they're sitting in the back and they got a headache, they got to go home, rather than just going, you're a wuss.
Or just adding air conditioning in this room.
You know, but being able to listen to them and understand like where those concerns are and be able to create those
also
for them.
Notice you have a Keurig machine. Is that for your actors?
That's more for me, but
More for you?
we stock, when the season's going on. This area is kind of like our green room for our actors. So, every night we've got, fresh fruit, things like that, just healthy snacks to snack on. If somebody needs a cup of coffee before the night starts, they can do that. We try and stock it up in a way that...
Do you give your actors free water?
Yeah. You got to give them water, right? But we do water for the actors. We do, as any haunt would, we do pizza at the end of the night, but we pay everybody. The pizza is really just, for us, it's a community table moment. The show's over. We're all able to take 5 minutes, sit around, share war stories, and whether it's pizza or sometimes we do chili or hot dogs or whatever we're making. But in that sense, like, for us, it's the family table. It's getting everybody together to have a meal and show the actors that we appreciate them and thank them for what they do, but also be able to have that moment right at the end of the night to talk and listen and hear and think about the little things that really make such a difference in how we treat people and how we grow as a show.
Well, this is the first person I've heard say they give their actors food after. Everybody else I've ever talked to that does food does it before.
We
so that's an interesting take.
Yeah, for us it's a community moment. We like to be able to sit and talk and share that moment with everybody. The beginning of the night, it's too chaotic. We're trying to get makeup on, we're trying to fill fog machines and fix props and do all the things that you have to do to get the show open, all that craziness, that whirlwind at the beginning of the night. Being able to take that 30 seconds or 5 minutes or an hour or whatever it is to just sit and wind down together makes a huge difference for us and is part of what I was saying, where for me doing this is about the art of it and the relationships of it and all of that. So
oh my gosh, let me see.
Did I tell you we shot a movie here?
No, you did.
Yeah, it comes out, it's getting a worldwide release this October. So
really?
Yeah, it'll be on...
What's it called?
It's called Haunt Season. But director approached us, and he's a close friend now, but to make a movie here, and shot a movie here 2 years ago. Finally getting released this year. We're really excited about it.
Who's releasing it? What studio?
I'm not allowed to say. But keep an eye out for Haunt Season. When we're not on camera, maybe I'll show you a trailer.
Okay.
But,
well, let's go back into the haunt,
we
I
can pop
guess.
back into the haunt. But yeah, so makeup room's in here. Just you were asking. It's again a mess.
And they have a wall of examples.
Yeah, and so we've got our mask wall over here. A lot of pumpkin pulp stuff. Not everything's here right now. Some of it gets packed up, like the silicone masks and stuff get packed up for the season. But little mask wall over there.
When you buy masks, do you buy silicones or do you buy foam latex or?
So
what do your actors prefer?
our actors prefer something they can take off quickly and easily. So a lot of like the pumpkin pulp half masks have been really successful for us, just because they're easy on, easy off. They're really dramatic looking. They've got really cool designs, but are easy to wear. Silicone masks have not been super successful for us for a number of reasons. One of the main ones just being they're expensive and prone to destruction, and a lot of our actors don't like wearing them, so we just don't buy them.
Now, Steve, I have to say, I have a eye for detail. That's what I do for a living.
Sure.
And I just happened to notice something.
What did you notice?
And I pan over here. Okay, and this is not unusual to see lockers, but these are bowling lockers.
They are bowling lockers, because we're at a bowling alley.
That's right.
So years ago, we dismantled all of our leagues. We're purely a recreational house, which meant that we had 200 lockers for people to store all of their league gear in and they've been here forever. And when that closed, it was like, all right, let's reuse them or scrap them. And their bowling lockers are really great for actor storage. They're small, they're compact. You get 10 in a stack, and they can kind of fit anywhere, but they work really well.
You're probably surprised I realized that or noticed it.
I don't think I'm surprised. You're at a bowling alley.
Yeah, but I noticed right away I didn't notice it right away, but I was looking, I was like, wait a minute.
So the eye for detail is a little delayed.
Yes. But yes, now we're back to like complete claustrophobia, which I like.
A lot of our actor areas, we do like little foot pedal things that trigger lights. All the sounds are off right now. But for actors wearing masks, a lot of times we'll do pre-recorded sounds or scares. That way they're not blowing out their voice all night.
Have you seen this dog? Is this a real missing dog?
Yeah, so that was, as you go through the house, eventually we'll end up in a kitchen. The idea is somebody's going through a neighborhood, kidnapping people's animals and eventually killing them. But we had all of our actors submit photos of their animals, and we didn't tell them why. We were just in the off season, we're like, hey, we want to see your pets. And then we printed out photos of all of their pets and posted them up throughout the haunt in different spots as missing animals. A little house facade out here.
And there's a fan on. Does it get hot in this building during the season?
I mean, fortunately, we're in Chicago, so it's usually pretty mild temperature-wise in the fall. But if it's hot,
I think it's cool how you walk under the steps.
yeah. But if it's hot outside, it's hot in here.
And so you got a bunch of animations here.
Yeah. So this is the ballroom. There's an actor in here that's dancing with all the props. They couldn't get anybody to dance.
I noticed you have
so they strung them
security
all up.
cameras. How many security cameras do you have in your maze here?
We try and do one every other room or so, just to keep an eye on flow. But throughout this part of the house, I think we've got something in the area like 30 cameras.
Wow. So do you monitor that somewhere?
Yeah, so back in that staffing area, we have somebody that's monitoring the cameras, keeping an eye on flow, keeping an eye on the actors, things like that.
So I guess this is to say there's an animal in there.
That is to say there's an animal in there.
Now, have you ever had PETA get mad at you?
PETA get mad at us? I mean, no, but...
Animal lovers?
If PETA wants to come be mad at us, feel free to come protest. I can use the publicity.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. Now, let me ask you something about these floors, okay? Because I've never installed them in the darkness, but I keep saying that I'm going to.
Sure.
Do they ever break?
No.
No?
So this isn't a prop that we bought. We built these floors. They're just suspended boards, but they're limited by the space below them, so they can only flex so much. Creates a nice spring as you walk through, but it's like damn near impossible to break.
Yeah, so we were going to do, moving floors, creaking floors, and we just never do it.
Sure.
And I always wonder too, like, will they break?
This probably feels nice.
This prop looks cool. Who made that?
These are Anthony Glenn from Original Sin. Incredible artist. In Chicago also. And just really, really incredible props.
That's nice. So the actor hides behind that.
Yeah, the actor's able to be back in here. They're able to pop this open, come out towards you, and then as you come through, they're able to get you one more time over here. Just little areas, but an actor in a spot like this would be able to access like 3 or 4 different areas throughout the house, which is nice. And then there's usually an actor dressed like all these props standing up on one of the platforms.
And you've got really another chain link fence, and now you're kind of coming through where it's very claustrophobic yet again. Do you have to post stuff on your website that tells the customers it could be challenging to walk through?
Yeah, we do. We mentioned that it's, there's a lot of like areas that may require you to like duck or crawl. Any of the areas that are low like that have bypasses around them. So like if somebody can't duck down physically, we always have a way to move somebody through to the next area without requiring them to do it. But areas like this in here, actors are able to be up on the
So
rails.
their feet are on here?
Yeah, the actors able to kind of be up in here. Allows them to kind of hide behind the door over here. As groups come through, they're able to pop down at you, but stay safe and up out of the way. If they want to get really, acrobatic with it, it allows them to let people go through. But That's a good way to get
And then you got like little mini strobe lights under there. That's really cool. Oh, look at that. She's not having a good day. That reminds me of the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Sure.
That's really gross. I like how you put the animation upside down.
Yeah, that's an old Unit 70 prop. Just mounted it up to the ceiling.
It looks
and modified it a bit.
Now, I've never seen this in a haunted house in my entire life. Dental floss hung upside down with blood.
You know, it's one of those things where Stevie, our makeup artist, came up with this. It's, you know, you go through so many haunted houses, they're hanging fishing line and things.
Or they're hanging like dirty underwear.
Yeah, sure, but to be, you know, like spider webs or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
Yeah, fun for it to be.
And it's got blood on it.
Yeah,
and
so we incorporated it up into that. It's got little chunks of sinew through it, and then
wow,
you know, coming through here, just toothpaste everywhere, teeth all embedded in it. Just a fun little bathroom scene. And a bonus.
And look at this. He's been killed by dental floss. And now we got to go through a bunch of dirty towels. This haunted house might be like the most claustrophobic. Okay, so you go around here.
Like I said, we build all these areas so the actors are able to be up and out of the way, so the actor doesn't have to be hunched down all the time, but as people pass through here, they're able to pound on all this as people come through, and then, you know, you're sticking your head up through it, but they're able to open this up and reach out at people too, you know, so when they come by, this is normally a window.
All right, after you.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of great scares in here.
Yeah, you know.
That's definitely loud, and it's just hidden by, you know.
Just stuff, but it's, again, those different areas, it's just a pedal, so the actor's able to be back here, scare into that area, then people come around this corner, they're able to hit the pad.
Oh yeah, so you press this button here.
Yeah, so it allows the actor
I think you have just the right amount of animations.
Yeah, we try to not overdo it. You know, a lot of it's, you know.
And because your haunt is so claustrophobic, so tight, like you've got the right animations too. It's like you really are keenly aware of what would work in here.
Sure.
And then you've cleverly integrated them by either putting them above your head or above you and they come out at you.
Yeah, or you have to walk through them, things like that.
Yeah.
For us, because space is at a premium, it's very much a situation of if we're going to put something in the show, it has to make an impact.
How many square feet is the indoor part?
About 9,000 square feet, including our actor space.
With this
the whole building. So
as tight as the maze is, I bet you it feels more like 20,000.
yeah, it feels like a big. I mean, I always like to say that we cram a 30,000 square foot show into a 10,000 square foot building. So this is going to be about where we have to turn around and go back towards the front of the house. But this room is all a moving platform. So it actually has a whole show built into it. I wish I could run it for you, but I think there's too much stuff stacked up on the outside of it. It's in emergency stop mode right now. But we run the room with like little e-stops so that the room can't trigger itself. Or if the room were to trigger, the actor in this space can stop it if somebody were to fall.
Oh, I see. There's
like that. But yeah, so this whole room lifts up and rocks as you go through it. There's an integrated lighting and sound effect that swirls the lights around through all the slats in the walls, and a big gush of smoke that pumps up through the middle of it. It's a really cool effect when we're fully operational. So we're gonna go back this way. And then we're gonna open up a hole in the wall. And then, again, where space is a premium, so that whole room's a moving room. This is the back side of that moving room. We'll decorate the back sides of things like that so that this whole wall is an animated wall. If you happen to walk through here when that's activated, you've got this big undulating meat wall over on that side.
I see.
watch her step through here. We're still in storage mode, so.
Midnight Studios.
Yeah, Midnight Studios. A lot of Thompson action here, so.
I like all the retro Halloween, like, you know, the owl, the little clown, the pumpkins.
So this area, the start of the house, you know, as the theme would go, is that you were invited to this Halloween party in this old abandoned house. People have, you know, kind of done it up as a little thing. You're like dared to go to it, and then as you go through the house, things kind of start to evolve.
Plastic, retro masks.
Yeah, we put those on, and then one of the actors is in here blending in with the rest of them. So.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, like to give you an idea of just how.
Look at this. That's crazy. It looks like the party didn't go too good for him.
Well, yeah. And then, but this is just how up to the walls we are. So, like, our go-kart shop lives just in the side of things over here. We're always having to move stuff out of the way just to make it all work. But, you know, one step out of the haunted house and you're back in the fun center. So, this in here is cool when we're open. There's a cool lighting effect that comes through here. Wind blowing through it all. It's a really cool strobe effect. And then that brings us back up to where we started. Normally, after that moving room, that would transition us into the outside portion of the show, which then all gets built out onto the go-kart track out here.
There you go.
Thanks. That's free money.
There you go.
That? You don't want to see the
Well, you know, there's a running joke in my videos about me finding screws on the ground. Because I yelled at some people about not picking them up.
Sure.
And so now it's just a running joke. I had no choice.
I understand.
So then you come to this point here.
Yeah, so you'd come out a garage door that's that way, comes out onto the go-kart track, loops through all this stuff. We've got tents and everything that gets set up out here, a bunch of rooms.
And you put mazes inside the tents?
Mazes, vortex tunnels, stuff like that.
Wow.
All gets set up out here.
And you set this whole thing up in 3 weeks?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's a lot, yeah.
How many people does it take?
We run with a pretty tight crew, so we've gotten it kind of down to our own science, but it's usually a crew of about 4 or 5 people.
But how many hours a day do you work?
Enough.
I mean, is it all day, all night?
Yeah, I mean, we're usually here, you know, like 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. kind of thing.
Now, I have an interesting question for you because did you ever see the video I did on Field of Screams?
I might have.
Yeah, it's on the Hauntworld channel. It's really cool. But one of the things I noticed was
channel, the one we're
on YouTube
watching right now.
Yes, exactly. But he's surrounded by houses. Okay, and I just happen to notice you're surrounded by houses as well.
Yeah, we're built right up to the neighborhood.
Now, do these people complain?
So, most of the people who live in this neighborhood are well aware of our existence. You know, we've been doing it 22 years. So most of the people that live next to us, you know, we were here first. So we've been here since.
So that subdivision was not there?
The subdivision was, but you know, people move in and out, and over the course of the run of it all, it's all been pretty good. But we've got a good relationship with our neighbors. You know,
do you give them tickets and stuff?
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. But and even some of our neighbors, like there's one that's got like a really good view of our parking lot.
Yeah.
So he's got my cell phone number. He's like a guard tower for us. He'll give me a call sometimes, be like, hey, some people are drinking in your parking lot. You know. So.
Do these people ever like get up in the tree and just like watch people get scared?
You know, in October, there's not much they're able to see because this all gets kind of covered up. But
I'm sure they dread Halloween.
I imagine.
Yeah.
But who doesn't?
But that's really cool.
So there you have it. That's Realm of Terror. So thanks for coming out. You know, I've been inviting you out for 20 years now, and you finally.
You know who you remind me of? Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd.
Has anybody ever said that to you?
Do you find me attractive lately?
And he's from Kansas City though. Because I was thinking, wait a minute, is he a Cubs fan? No, wait a minute, he's a Royals fan. My bad.
I don't know who's a fan of what.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, this was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks for inviting us out.
Yeah, we're always here, always have been, hopefully always will be. So
How do they find you on
Go to realmofterror.com. It's been our website, REALMOFTROR.
What about do you have what social media do you focus on, like updating, like with content? Instagram, TikTok,
Our
YouTube?
Facebook and Instagram's all pretty active. Our TikTok's managed. It has a fair amount of content on it, but Facebook and Instagram's probably the most relevant.
What during the season do you try to feed your social media with content, and what kind of content do you put on it?
It varies. Our TikTok, tends to just be like more topical stuff, capitalize on different trends and stuff like that. Our Instagram and Facebook's usually a lot of like event photos and things of the actual show going on, really let people see what they can expect when they come out here.
Wow. Well, thanks a lot, Steve.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun. And just so people are aware, you're like really close to Six Flags.
Yeah, we're, that's probably our biggest competitor, so to speak, and we don't really view them as competition. We love the park, and they're 10 minutes from here. So you can come to Realm of Terror, drive 10 minutes, go check out Fright Fest. They've got a bunch of cool stuff they're doing over there.
Do you see that, you don't get a lot of spin-off traffic from them because they usually go there and stay there.
So
how does that work?
If Six Flags reaches capacity, we get the overflow. We're the closest haunted house to the Six Flags, and if they're too full, then we start to see additional people. But if they're not, early in the season, we don't see much from them. But later in the season, we do. And we used to actually run ads with Six Flags. We used to have a photo op right at the exit of Fright Fest that, people could go and take photos with, and it had our logo and stuff on it, which was a really fun promo.
When you advertise, if you were to advertise and try to get into the heart of Chicago, do you emphasize that you're down the street from Six Flags?
For us, there's really not much reaching into the heart of Chicago. There's just too many other really good haunted houses. Not that we're a bad haunted house. It's just, if you're in Chicago, you're going to have to pass 5 really great haunted houses to come see this really great haunted house.
Yeah.
And if you want to come check us out, come check us out. But certainly also support those other people. But for us, we don't advertise really into that market too much, just because being just under an hour out of the city, if we're pushing into Chicago, really the only takeaway anybody in Chicago is going to get is haunted house, and they'll haunted house near me on Google and end up somewhere else. So our dollars better spent a little closer out here.
Well, that's awesome. So we were here at Realm of Terror, and that wraps up our tour. Now we're literally getting in the car and we're going to check out another haunted house called Massacre, and that video will get uploaded as well. So let me tell you some of my thoughts about the Realm of Terror. I watched a video of all the stuff they have outside, and it was absolutely stunning, beautiful lighting. And we only got to see about half of it because these people set up the rest of the attraction in a 3-week period, because just like when I used to work for amusement parks, and they couldn't have a space until late because they were using it for the regular season, or they had committed the spaces for corporate parties or whatever, you have a very short window to set up, very short window. And so these people will, on Labor Day, I guess it is, or Memorial Day, I can't remember, I always get them mixed up. That's when their go-karts are closed for the year, and they start putting up the rest of the haunt. So come on out here and check it out. You can see their banner right there. Woo! So the haunted house was really good, and sometimes you can't get that on video, but it felt very claustrophobic in there. And even though it was only 9,000 square feet, because of the tightness, the rooms were really tiny. This is actually how we build modular haunts for our customers. And we tell them, like, oh, if we build you a 4,000 square foot haunted house, it will actually feel like it's about 10,000, because you keep the scenes real tight. They're a lot more claustrophobic, and that gives you more space for mazing. And that's what this one was like. And it was even tighter than the way we build them for amusement parks. It really felt like going through it would be very intense. So I want to thank Steve and his whole entire crew for giving us the tour today. Very interesting tour, seeing one that was a family fun center, and I would love to come back and see it when it's in full operation. So whenever you're out here in Gurnee, Illinois area, just like literally 3 or 4 miles from Six Flags, you got to come check this out. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, Halloween is around the corner, and you can come to St. Louis and you can visit us. And you know, we would be about 4 hours from this place, so you can make it a road trip. Come here one night, go through all the haunts of Chicago, come down to St. Louis. We'd love to have you come see us. And make sure you follow us on Instagram, on Scarefest. Scarefest at Instagram, because we post a lot of haunted house content. Until then, take care, and we'll see you next time.
For scary videos and more, subscribe to our YouTube page, Hauntworld.com.